What is up, fellas? We are back for another UFC predictions video. This time for UFC Fight Night, Royval versus Kape, closing out the year with a pretty great main event with a decent undercard with some intriguing fights, I guess. Uh, we did good last weekend, fellas, for UFC 323. Uh, I think we went 11 for 14 on picks. That is factoring in the 1 in 15 million fluke arm post explosion of Alejandro Pantoja, which is, I mean, just brutal to see. But even factoring in that, the last three cards, I believe we are 34 for 40 on fight predictions, picking fights at about an 85% clip, which is still insane. So the momentum is still rolling. I've done some tape for this card already. I'm excited to break it down for you guys. So we're going to jump right into that. But first, subscribe if you're new, please. Also, sorry for the lighting. The light up here is burnt out, so it's kind of like we're at a candlelit dinner together, you and me. And I'm going to break down a fight card at the Apex. Let's jump right into it, fellas. Um, Kicking us off with the first fight of the night at women's flyweight. Teresa Bleda taking on Jamie Lynn Horth. Now, I'm going to say this early and I'm going to say this quickly, fellas. This card is the definition of a volatile Apex card. It is hard to get reads on a lot of these fights because a lot of these fighters are just very volatile, and I'll go into it more with specific matchups, but this is one of them in general. Teresa Bleda, not a bad fighter in this division. One thing I want to highlight is she is gigantic for the division. Normally, Jamie Lynn Horth is the much bigger lady in a lot of her contests. She's going to be outsized here pretty substantially. I think she's going to be outstrengthed as well. And Bleda is a solid, solid grappler. And I want to pick Bleda. She is the minus 190 favorite, and I do like her here because I think she's going to take away a lot of the advantages that Jamie Lynn Horth typically has against her opponents, which is her size and strength. My problem is, and this is the volatility I'm talking about, Bleda hasn't fought in 2.5 years. It's been a very long time since she's fought. Granted, Gabriela Fernandez, decent lady to have a victory over. Dropped the fight to Natalia Silva, who's looking basically like she's going to be next in contention for a title shot. So I don't mind that too much. I think she's the better grappler outright here. Despite Jamie Lynn Horth, I believe she trains with Jasmine Jasudavicius, who's a really good grappler. But just because you train with somebody doesn't mean you're on that level of grappling. I think Teresa Bleda has a clear grappling advantage here. And I don't think Jamie Lynn Horth is, Mike Tyson on the feet either. I think she's going to be outsized and outstrengthed. And I'm going to lean Teresa Bleda here to get this fight done. Probably by decision. It could be close, though. I could see Horth getting around, but I'm leaning like 29-28 decision. Seems like a lot of people agree with that. But this is a tricky one because I'm not sure how Bled is going to look after 2.5 years off. Granted, she's very, very young, so I'm all right with her taking some time off because she's probably improving in these years off. Now, if it was Jamie Lynn Horth at this age taking 2 years off, I would be a little bit concerned for sure. Moving up to men's heavyweight, guys. This is another fight, man. Alan Fry taking on Guilherme Pat. Okay? I'm just going to call him Pat for short. But this is a fight, like, guys, I can't find it was very hard for me to find any footage of these guys fighting. I was able to find Pat's latest fight at LFA, but Alan Fry's he's a hard guy to find tape on that's not recorded on an iPhone 3GS. So once again, okay, I haven't seen the lines for these fights, so you're getting my live reaction to these lines as well. Pat's the minus 190 favorite. I do agree with Pat being the favorite because what I've seen of these guys is Pat is a guy. When you see a heavyweight fighter, typically you look for things like if you're expecting a guy to be anywhere near the top of the division, you look for certain things like is he disgustingly fat? Can he bounce on his feet? Does he have any kind of footwork? Pat has those things. He's not super fat. He's pretty on his toes. His footwork's pretty good. I genuinely think Pat is a much more skilled and technical and athletic fighter than Alan Fry. My problem with Pat is he doesn't really go. I'm trying to think of a way I can describe this. If a guy gets hurt in front of Alan Fry, Alan Fry will go and try and scalp him. Like if Alan Fry lands a big right hand and his opponent's like you could tell it bothered him, Alan Fry would be the guy who would go in there and try and get a finish. Pat doesn't really seem to do that, and that worries me here because in I believe it was this fight against Quineros in the LFA, he had him hurt all over the place, but he just really wasn't committing for a finish. He still got the finish, but it took longer than I would have liked. It's like the instinct, the finishing instinct, isn't quite where I want it to be in this fight. Whereas I feel like Alan Fry is less technical. Um, he's less light on his feet. He's more soft bodied, but he does kind of have that instinct to go for a finish if a guy's ready to be finished. You know what I'm saying? But I think on skill set alone, I have to go with Guillaume Hermé Pat just because I think his skill set is higher. And you don't see guys at heavyweight who, have a decent build, good footwork, light on the feet. I have to go with him. This is a very tricky fight, though. Just because, and both of these guys are making their UFC debuts too, and neither of these guys have fought on the Contender Series. They're just signing them off regionals, which is like you really don't know what the fuck you're gonna get here. What are people picking? No one's picking Pat. That's interesting. That's interesting to me. I wonder why. Because I couldn't find anything really on Alan Fry that would make me think he's gonna go out here and knock out Pat. It's such an insane prediction. I'm going with Guillaume Hermé Pat. I think he can win this fight by TKO. I think he's the much better striker. I think I can't really find much on his fucking grappling, nor Alan Fry's. Uh, I'm gonna go with Pat. I think he can win inside the distance or decision. I just think he's a more technical fighter. This what the fuck? This fight I must have been added recently. I have not seen anything on this fight. I've done no tape on this fight, fellas. I'm gonna be completely candid. Um, okay. Moving up to women's bantamweight. I guess this just got added. So we're just gonna spitball here. Luana Santos taking on Melissa Croden. Uh, what's the line on this? I would expect Santos. Yeah, Santos is a slight favorite for sure. Um, dude, I don't know. I haven't done any tape on this. When was this announced? This has to be like a relatively short notice, right? Has to be. God, dude, these fucking Apex Fight Night cards, dude, they just throw fucking curveballs at you nonstop. Guys, I'm being completely candid with you. I don't fucking know. I feel like I can't really give you a pick here on this fight because I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know when this fight was made. When I looked at the card list and I was watching stuff on this card, this fight was not here, but it is here now. So I guess I mean, I think Luana Santos can win. I think she's a better fighter. I think she's a little bit more well-rounded. Melissa Croden is good. She's a good striker. Wins with a lot of volume. She had a good performance in her last fight against Tayanara Lisboa, um, very recently too. Whereas, Luana Santos is also coming off of a victory of Tayanara Lisboa. But I like the grappling game of Santos. Um, I lost to Casey O'Neill. I don't mind too much. You lost to Cavalcanti, right? Yeah, in LFA. Another loss that's not too bad. Um, I don't know. What are people saying? Santos decision? Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll just trust the people. We'll go with Santos decision. I I don't fucking know. I haven't really gotten to study that at all. Moving up to heavyweight, Sean Sheriff taking on Steven Asplund. Here's a fight I actually have looked into a little bit. Um, I'm going with Steven Asplund here, guys. What's the line looking like? Yeah, I agree. Sean Sheriff, in my opinion, is just not a guy who should be fighting at the heavyweight division. Steven Asplund is a big guy, powerful guy, a real heavyweight sized guy. And I think Sean Sheriff's just a fat, light heavyweight. No, he's 6'3", but he doesn't look the same. Like Asplund, you see the bone structure on the guy, and you're like, yeah, this guy, there's no way in hell this guy would ever touch 205. But Sean Sheriff, he's and he lost to Junior Tafa. I'm going with Steven Asplund here. I think he's an actual heavyweight. He's got good hands. He's got good power. Sean Sheriff is a decent fighter as well. Pretty well rounded. Nothing too crazy. Good power. Decent striking. Grappling's all right. Nothing great. But he's just, in my opinion, he's just not a fucking heavyweight, man. And Asplund is, and I think that's going to be the deciding factor here. I'm going with Asplund by TKO. Um, yeah, I think Sean Sheriff should drop a weight class, quite frankly. Yeah. I also really don't think he's UFC level, to be honest. And Asplin also had a nice win on the Contender Series. Moving up to welterweight, Neil Magny taking on Yaroslav Amosov. They're really not a fan of Neil Magny. They're giving this guy the fucking Neil Magny test already, but I think he passes. Amosov is a good fighter, dude. Sorry, I'm a little sick, so my throat's been killing me. Lost to Jason Jackson in a fight not a lot of people thought he would lose, but Jason Jackson's actually pretty solid. Um, really good record at Bellator, really solid fighter, good grappling. Striking's fine. It's not too bad. He's very well rounded, Amosov. And Neil Magny is a guy who he can turn away people, right, who aren't quite ready for the top 15 or like the top 20. Like Jake Matthews, though, this was a fluke. This fight was a fluke, so I can't look into this. Zaleski, decent win. Prates Morales KO'd him. Mike Mallet, wasn't ready for the test. I think Amosov is. Amosov's a guy with a wealth of experience. A lot of these guys that Neil Magny fights, like Mike Mallet, are not very experienced at all in MMA. This guy's got 30 fights, man, and he's only lost once. This performance against Jason Jackson was not good. He looked very bad in this fight, but he had a nice bounce back win against Curtis Millender, who's a guy who's very easy to out grapple and submit, but he was able to do that. Amosov is predominantly a grappler, but he is well rounded. And Neil Magny's a guy who just, no matter what, always struggles in the grappling. Even though he wins by submission, uh, like against Jake Matthews, even once again, it was a fluke though. He did get submitted in this fight. He got finished in this fight by submission. Um, where's this other one? Zaleski was having decent success against him. I just think Amosov can out grapple Neil Magny pretty clearly. And Neil Magny just, I don't know. I think Amosov submits Neil Magny relatively easily, to be honest. There's really not much to break down. I don't think he breaks uh to Neil Magny like a Mike Mallet did. I just don't. I really don't. And I think he'll submit Neil Magny. I think Amosov submits Neil Magny. Moving up to featherweight, I heard this fight was canceled, but I haven't seen anything official on it. I heard Melsek Bagdasaryan pulled out of this fight, but I'm gonna break it down nonetheless. Joe Anderson Brito taking on Melsek Bagdasaryan. I'm going with Joe Anderson Brito here. Melsek Bagdasaryan is a good fighter, great striker, very technical guy, but he has a giant weakness to grappling. Joe Anderson Brito can grapple pretty well. That would be his easiest path to victory. Joe Anderson Brito is also capable on the feet. He's insanely durable. He can put pressure on. He throws hard shots. Melsek's good, though. I don't like that he got KO'd in his last fight. I think that's going to damper his confidence a little bit, especially because he got KO'd on the feet. He might not be super confident. I don't, once again, heard this fight was canceled, but I haven't seen anything completely official on it, so I'm just going to break it down. Confidence might not be at an all-time high on the stand-up either. And Joe Anderson Brito's a guy who's very, very dangerous on the feet, throws very hard, powerful shots. He's very durable. He can push a hard pace for 3 rounds. Bagdasaryan's a guy who gasses out pretty hard in the latter half of the fight, too. So in that 3rd round where I feel like Bagdasaryan could be sucking air, Brito could probably just grapple him and submit him if he wanted to, pretty easily. I'm going with Joe Anderson Brito here. I feel like I don't want to say a no-brainer because Bagdasaryan is a clean kickboxer, great kicks, great hands, good eyes as well. But I trust the full, well-rounded skill set of Joe Anderson Brito here, for sure. I think he's got a clear edge in the durability and the grappling and the cardio as well. I think he wins this fight like 7 out of 10 times. I think he went by submission. A lot of guys picking TKO. I'm gonna say sub if this fight does end up taking place. I'm gonna say Joe Anderson Brito wins this fight by submission. He's got too many advantages for me. We're already on the main card. What the fuck? Moving up to women's strawweight, Amanda Lemos taking on Jillian Robertson. Decent fight here. Short notice matchup for Amanda Lemos, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna go with Jillian Robertson here, but I think Lemos is live. However long it takes Jillian Robertson to get this fight to the mat, she's gonna be in danger. Lemos is a very powerful and dangerous striker. She has some submission skills as well. Nothing great. My problem with Amanda Lemos is she has very big lapses in fight IQ and judgment, and she makes a lot of mistakes in the grappling. Choosing to engage with ladies with a grappling advantage over her, like Verna Jandarova, um, which would be a mistake here against Jillian Robertson, but I don't trust her to not make those mistakes. And Jillian Robertson's a lady whose striking's been getting a little bit better. It's not on the level of Lemos, and it doesn't have the same threat as Lemos' striking, but she can put something out there to maybe get a little bit of respect on the feet. But she's really good once she gets a lady to the ground. Her ground and pound is very, very good. Her submission skills are very, very good. And Amanda Lemos makes too many mistakes on the mat for me a lot of times to trust her in a short notice position like this. Like she just got done fighting Tatiana Suarez in a close fight, but the difference between Suarez is I think Jillian Robertson's a better ground and pound artist and submission artist than Tatiana Suarez. I think there's more of a threat of a finish if Jillian Robertson gets Amanda Lemos to the mat. But if she can't, she's in fucking trouble. So I think Lemos is a live dog here, but I think more often than not, Jillian Robertson. She's had a full camp preparing for an opponent. Lemos has not. I'm going to trust her here. I think she's got a clear edge in the grappling. Um, and Lemos has always had a clear, kind of weakness to that takedown. Her takedown defense isn't that bad. It's just her decision making lends a little bit to be desired. You know what I'm saying? Seems a lot of people lean on Robertson. I think she can get the sub, man. I'm picking a lot of finishes today. Uh, we'll see. I think she can find the sub on Lemo. I think if she makes the mistake of like grappling with Jillian Robertson, trying to get a position, maybe going for a submission herself, she can end up getting reversed and put into a bad position. Kind of similarly to how she was trying to grapple with Jandaroba when she should have just disengaged and got herself submitted. I think that could happen here. Something similar. Oh fuck. Moving up to heavyweight, this is another fight where it's just like, dude, flip a fucking coin, hope and pray. At heavyweight, Kennedy Nzechukwu taking on Marcus Buchecha, the jiu-jitsu phenom. He's dangerous. Oh god, dude. Am I gonna go with the fat jiu-jitsu merchant? I might. I might do it. He's the underdog too. Dude, this guy lost to Owen St. Preux, man. Chris Barnett, Lucas Burski, both these guys are horrible. Walter Walker submitted him, and the way he did it was so goofy. If Buchecha gets Kennedy to the ground, he will finish him. He will. I know he will. And he lost his UFC debut to Martin Buday, but Martin Buday is actually not that bad. He's on like a 7-fight win streak or something like that. And he's a real built heavyweight. Kennedy Nzechukwu is a guy who's fighting at light heavyweight. He's 230 pounds. No, if Kennedy's elusive and he's able to circle and he doesn't get backed up against the cage, he doesn't do something stupid and get himself taken down, he'll win this fight on the feet. Buchecha's striking's mid. Um, he's a durable guy, took some big shots, but he's not that great on the feet. He's a jiu-jitsu guy. But if he gets Kennedy down, I think he finishes him. And I don't trust Kennedy at all. Oh god, dude. This fight's so ugly. I'm just gonna go with the underdog and Buchecha. Like watching a lot of Kennedy Nzechukwu's tape, it's just like he loses to like schmucks, man. Like I know Walter Walker's not a schmuck, but like I think Buchecha is a better submission grappler than Walter Walker. Granted, he's not as much of a physical specimen as he is. Uh, I just Kennedy's so unreliable picking him, especially as a favorite. If he was like an underdog here, I'd probably pick him. But I'm gonna go with Buchecha. I don't fucking know, dude. This fight is disgusting. No one's picking Buchecha. I'm picking Buchecha, man, and I'm picking him by submission. That's another submission pick. This is the submission card, baby. Fuck it. Moving up to featherweight, Morgan Charrier taking on Melky Costa. Another tricky fight. Evens. But I'm going with Morgan Charrier here, guys, over Melquizael Costa. I like Melquizael Costa. I think I've picked his last couple of fights right. Yes, yes. No, not this one. I just feel like Melky Costa lacks what I think Morgan Charrier has in spades. Morgan Charrier is a very powerful, athletic, fast twitch guy, especially in the boxing. And I think Melquizael Costa's boxing can be exposed. I think he's a better kicker than Charrier, but my problem with Melky Costa is as a fight kind of gets extended a little bit, he tends to throw his kicks in boxing range. And I think that could lead to him getting fucking scalped by Charrier here. Granted, Charrier doesn't always show the best account of himself. He's coming off a win over Nate Landwehr in a close fight that he was losing, but he found the KO shot. Nathaniel Wood just got outclassed and outskilled. Nathaniel Wood is elite, though. I don't really care. Gabriel Miranda killed him. Chepe Mariscal had a dog fight with him. Very close competitive fight. You could argue that Charrier just won this fight. As Zacchini, he destroyed easily. Also, I did not love the performance against Julian Erosa. I thought Julian Erosa looked horrible. I thought he looked absolutely dog shit against Darren Elkins. The fact that Melky Costa took this guy to a decision, a competitive-ish decision, I did not like. I think Julian Erosa has looked dog shit in his last two fights. I thought Costa would finish him. Where Costa, I think, does have an advantage in the kicking. I don't know if he's better over 3 rounds. I think he's better at having like a game plan and executing it over 3 rounds. I do think he has a submission grappling advantage, but I think Charrier's got a wrestling advantage here. I think he's a better wrestler. You know, he was scrambling well with Chepe, who's a really, really fucking tough guy. He's got good wrestling. He scrambles very well. I think Melquizael Costa would have a hard time getting Charrier down. And I think on the feet, I like the athleticism, the power hooks, the speed, and sometimes Melky Costa's striking defense is a little bit suspect, and sometimes he throws some naked kicks in the boxing range. I think that could get him caught. As easily as it could get him, you know, a big head kick finish maybe, it could get him knocked the fuck out too. And I kind of lean on the side of the Morgan Charrier here. I don't know. It's just the vibes I'm picking up, man. I just do not love that fight against Julian Erosa, despite him winning it. It's just because I don't think Julian Erosa's looked very good. I'm going with Morgan Charrier. I think he can win this fight by TKO. No one's picking him! Am I in the Matrix? Is this going to be my worst card of all time on picks to close out the fucking year? That would suck. I just feel like he wins. I don't know. I like Melky Costa. I just feel like Charrier can land on him, man. Here's another dude. There's so many tricky fights on this card. Moving up to welterweight, Cesar Almeida taking on Cezary Oleksiejczuk. What's the line here? I'm curious. Another close fight, dude. Oh, I want to go with Cesar Almeida so bad because I do not. Oleksiejczuk could grapple Cesar Almeida and probably win this fight, but I think he's going to box with him, and I think that's a bad idea. I just do, man. The only loss Almeida has had in his career was to Kopylov. And granted, getting out grappled by Kopylov is a bad look. But I think it is, you know, Kopylov was shooting for his fucking life. He did not want to be on the feet with Cesar Almeida. Cesar Almeida is a insanely tenured, insanely skilled kickboxer. And I don't know if I can trust an Oleksiejczuk brother to go out there and fucking grapple. He should. He would win if he did. Oh my god, dude. But I also sometimes Cesar Almeida's up there in age. He's like 38, right? Yeah, basically. Sometimes his striking defense is a little bit hairy, and I don't like it too much. Sometimes he gets hit clean on the chin, and I don't like it. But he's got a good chin, though. Like, he was eating bombs from fucking Abdul Razak Al Hassan clean and just fucking swept him with a counter left hook badly. He's so dangerous. He's so powerful, and he's been striking for so long. I just feel like if Oleksiejczuk goes out here with the idea like, oh, I'm going to go knock this guy out, you might wake up dead. People are picking KO. I can see it, though. That's what's fucked up. I can see Oleksiejczuk getting the KO because Almeida's a little bit stiff with the way he takes shots. I don't like it too much. But he hasn't shown me a bad chin. He has not shown me a bad chin. Fuck it. I'm leaning into the volatility of this card. I'm going with Cesar Almeida. I think Oleksiejczuk's gonna fucking box with him. I think he might get caught in a wild exchange, throwing big boxing combinations up against the cage like he finished Al Hassan. He's going to throw a big counter and sleep him. I don't know. And he's the younger brother. Miguel Oleksiejczuk has been in the UFC a little bit longer. He's got a little bit more experience. And he's starting to get a little bit more of his game rounded out. I don't know if Cezary Oleksiejczuk is quite at the level of his brother just yet. I think he could be honestly better, just not right now. And this is a scary guy uh to be going in there against in boxing with, because this is his UFC debut. He had a good fight on the Contender Series, a good knockout win, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Cesar Almeida is good, dude. He is old, but I'm gonna go with Cesar Almeida. I think he's gonna win by TKO. I don't know. I don't know. We're just leaning into the volatility on this card, man. I feel like I'm picking everyone to win who's an underdog or by submission. I don't know what the fuck I'm cooking today. Do not bet on these picks. I'm telling you that right now, man. Holy shit. This card is fucking. This is gonna be ugly. I know it. Moving up to featherweight. Here's a fight I'm confident in. Okay, at featherweight, Giga Chikadze taking on Kevin Vallejos, guys. We are all Kevin Vallejos fans, man. Kid's really good. Great boxing, good durability, good endurance. Had a good hard fight against Danny Silva, which I think he needed. It wasn't his best performance in my opinion, but I think he needed a hard fight like that, getting extended all 3 rounds, going back and forth. I think that helps a young guy level up more. Like if you were to fight Giga without that kind of hard fight against Danny Silva, hard-ish fight against Danny Silva, I'd be a little bit more worried about this. But I'm going with Kevin Vallejos here, man. Giga Chikadze, good striker. My problem with Giga is he's taken some damage in his last couple of fights. First off, substantial damage. You know, Calvin Kattar took a hellacious beating, took a lot of shots from Arnold Allen, took some good shots from Caceres as well. And this fight was pretty close. I took some good shots over David Onama. I also do not love the loss to David Onama at all, especially considering how shit he looked against Steve Garcia. Like, you're losing to this guy who just curled up in a ball and quit against Steve Garcia in like 30 seconds. You're losing a decision to that guy. I don't love that. And he's taking a lot of damage. He's not getting any younger. This is a lighter weight class. He's 37. And my thing with Giga, man, he gasses a little bit. He does. He's got no grappling. Zero. Kevin Vallejos can grapple if he wants to, and I think it would be in his best interest to. He could no diff this guy if he does. But I also think Giga's striking defense, he's got good eyes and he's got like good reactions when shots come his way, but he doesn't really move his head that much, and he's there on the firing line to get hit by a guy like Kevin Vallejos, who throws very clean, orthodox boxing combinations. Like, I could see him just ripping that on fucking Giga Chikadze's pea head, man. And Giga Chikadze's a guy who lately has also been having trouble on the scales, too. I believe he missed weight for the Onama fight, if I'm not mistaken. Hard weight cuts. 37, lightweight class, taking some damage in his last couple of contests. Gets the young guy, good power, nice boxing, well-rounded, good durability. Shorter, stockier guy, too, so he's going to fucking work his way on the inside, and Kevin Vallejos is the guy I trust to work his way on the inside. Some guys are like, they kind of have that power puncher style, and they're too small, and they can't get in on the inside. Vallejos has good footwork. He can get inside and land good shots. I'm going to go with Kevin Vallejos here. I think he can win this fight. I think he can be the first guy to finish Giga Chikadze. Seriously, I do. And I'm going to say he wins this fight by like round two, late round 2 TKO. Maybe early round 3. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think he's going to make his reads on Giga. Giga starts pretty fast. He's pretty dangerous early. I think the first round might be pretty tightly contested. But I do trust Kevin Vallejos to make reads and kind of run away with the latter half of this fight. I really do. I'm going with Kevin Vallejos here, man. I haven't loved Giga's last couple of fights. Yeah, I'm going with Vallejos inside the distance. A lot of people picking Vallejos decision. I can see that too, to be honest, but I'm being bold today. And closing out this fight card at flyweight, Brendan Royval taking on Manel Kape. I expect Manel Kape to be a favorite. Yeah, okay. Because he was the favorite the first time this fight was made, before he pulled out. Guys, this is Brandon Royval is my favorite flyweight. I love Royval. He is a dog. He puts volume. He's all action all the time. I love Brandon Royval here. And I can see this fight going either way for either guy. But when I look at the actual, like, and the thing is, you could say Kape's a bad stylistic matchup for Royval, but I also think Royval's a bad stylistic matchup for Kape. It solely depends on Manel Kape if he's going to show up or if he's not, because you've seen performances in Kape's career where he just refuses to get started. He's too patient. He can't flow right, and he puts out no output. He has done that multiple times in his career. And if he does that here, Royval's going to be throwing 100 strikes a fucking round for 5 rounds. He'll win on volume if Manel Kape doesn't get started. However, if Manel Kape is sharp and he is on form and he is getting started, he's finding his flow. A guy like Brandon Royval, who's throwing all this volume, he's crashing in nonstop. Kape will counter him. And Brandon Royval's got great durability, really good recovery as well. But I can see him getting dropped in a couple rounds with some clean shots. Because Manel Kape's a sniper. It's just sometimes he doesn't, the gun jams. You know what I mean? But if he's coming in on form, I hate to say it, but I think he's kind of a hard matchup for Brandon Royval. On form, he's a tough matchup. If he can get some volume going, Manel Kape. If he doesn't get the volume going, Brandon Royval's he's gonna put 600 fucking strikes out there, and he's gonna win a decision. But I can so see him walking onto something, to a setup, to a trap from Manel Kape. And that's kind of what's tearing me up here. Manel Kape's very dynamic. Got really good knees, too. Great speed, great eyes. I think he'll see a lot of what Royval's doing coming. I think you can catch him kind of early. God, I hate this. I'm gonna go with Manel Kape. I don't know. I was thinking of picking Royval as an underdog, man, but I feel like, I'm not allowed to. I say I'm not allowed to be happy. My goat just won the bantamweight title last week, so I guess I am allowed to be happy. But I don't love this matchup. But I don't know what version of Manel Kape's coming. But I have a feeling he's gonna be on form for this fight. I just have a feeling, man. I hope Brandon Royval wins, but I see him walking onto something. I don't think there's going to be any grappling here. I think Brandon Royval's a better grappler, especially a better submission grappler, but he refuses to grapple a lot of the time, to his detriment. Sometimes I think this is just going to be a striking contest over 5 rounds. Granted, Brandon Royval has much more 5-round experience, but he's just been in a war with Joshua Van. He's absorbed a lot of shots, got dropped at the end of that fight. I don't love it. Manel Kape's riding some good momentum here. I'm going to trust Manel Kape here. I think he's going to show up on form, land good shots at Brandon Royval, counter him. He might even get a TKO finish. Not like a flatline KO finish, but I could see him dropping Royval with some clean shit and landing some follow-ups. Maybe the ref jumps in him. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think I'm going to be. I just have this sickening feeling in my soul. So I'm going with Manel Kape by TKO. What are the people saying? I would expect more people picking Royval. That's fair. He's a great underdog, man. I love Brandon Royval, and he's always going to show up and fight hard every single time. You saw it in the Joshua Van fight, and you saw it in the Tyra fight where we swept this entire card right here. I just feel like Kape's a bad matchup. Yeah, I'm just going to stick to my guns here. But yeah, that's it for the last card of the year, fellas. Hopefully we do all right. This is a very ugly, hard card to predict, honestly. I hope we do okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll have a couple of videos out this next month when the UFC's in downtime, hopefully. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.